Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Phil John. Welcome to another episode of Phil John's V.I.P. I thank you guys for joining me tonight. I want to give a special shout out to the brothers of the Gentleman Corner. We talk about the support being real. But Kane, I caught that. The support is real, my brother. To you, John, Paul, Monty, and all of you guys, man, I'm so proud to be in your company. You guys are talking about topics and issues that affect us as men of color. Monty as well, but men of color of a certain age. So I thank you so much and I thank Tuffy Questel for, joining, connecting us, because it is an honor and a privilege to be in your company. And I thank you for all your support. Moving along, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I'm excited about this week because we are acknowledging breast cancer survivors as well, and women, and getting information. That's one thing I love. I love to receive information and share the information with you guys. I thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it because I think that it's something that we need to hear. It's something that we need to listen to. Tonight's guest is going to be is a pretty special person to me. I'm waiting for her to log on now. But you know, she's been a breast cancer survivor. She's a breast cancer survivor. I'll say that. She's a breast cancer survivor. And she is the daughter of one of the most iconic, famous comedians. Thank you, D'Ambrose, that we know of to date. Her name is Miss Rain Pryor. And I am so happy that she's able to join me tonight, and for me to, I kind of like share you with her, because there are people who think they know people, but they don't really know people. But I'm happy to share the relationship and the friendship that we've had for probably about 13 years now. Like right after she had a baby girl. So, I want to introduce to you all and reintroduce to some Miss Rain Pryor. She's going to join me in a few seconds. Hopefully we'll be good tonight. I think we'll be good tonight. I think. Fingers crossed. Ah! All right, here she comes. Rain Pryor.
Hello!
Rain Pryor is on the ones and twos today.
Hi, my friend.
How are you? How are you? I didn't see you for a while. I was like, I hope she not cleaning the house and be like, oh, I gotta do.
I'm so happy to see your face. Hi.
Wow, this is dope. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I know you get asked to do this all the time, but I appreciate it. That for your support.
It's you. It's you. I'm listening to my dogs. I'm hoping they didn't break I just heard a crash downstairs. I'm like, woo! Of course, because
Right, exactly, man.
All things happen in the middle of interviews.
I know the expected unexpected.
Yeah.
Yes. Hi. So I want to get you. I don't even I don't want to There's so much I want to get into, but I don't want to be like a typical interview, because a lot of people don't know.
Nothing typical about
That's
it.
what I'm saying. So it is what it is.
It is.
We're not going to try to be fluffy.
No.
But so I have to say this, because I feel like for me, it's like who Rain Pryor is to me may not be who Rain Pryor is to other people, because a lot of times when a lot of people, some people who do know me know that I'm very, very protective of Rain. So I don't like no nonsense. Don't start nothing. Won't be no.
Right.
Let's keep it cool, and we good.
And she loved you for it. I'm gonna speak to about myself like in the third person, and she loved you.
Thank you. I think her story is just incredible, from growing up in Hollywood to kind of having rough patches. It's just a real story, and then really kind of coming into your own. And I think that in life takes us through different stages to help us grow. spiritually,
Yes. Yes.
help us to mature. Um, but
100%.
you know, the one thing that I always said that I probably could not have done that you somehow seem to master is that you've had to do it publicly. A lot of us don't have to do it publicly, but
Right.
you have. So tell us a little bit about your story early on, and what made, how was it growing up the daughter of Richard Pryor?
Okay, so let's just get that part out of the way.
Yeah.
So people always ask, what was it like? Was he funny around the house? My dad didn't like work out his material at home. He was dad. Like when he was present, he was dad. Like total do as I say, not as I do. Um, very strict, which is really funny. And me and one of my girlfriends that I've known since I was 9 years old, one of my best girlfriends, Malik, we talk about it all the time about my dad. When we went out to a club and my dad showed up at her house, sat on the couch with her mother and waited for us to come home, and we got in so much trouble. Like he was that way. And then he played instruments. Like he would sit down and decide, I'm going to play the drums, or I'm going to play the piano, or I'm going to fiddle around with the guitar. And then
Yeah.
he would make up songs, but he didn't do stand up. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to know, how did you separate yourself from his image to become who you are? How did you carve out your own place for yourself?
I don't think I carved anything. I think that's all I knew was to be myself, Phil. I mean, to
Yeah.
be honest, like, we all had to have jobs by the time we were 13 years old. So we weren't allowed, like, we didn't live the Hollywood lifestyle other than like, okay, I lived in Beverly Hills with my mom, but below the tracks, not above the tracks. I rode my bike to school. I took a bus, public transportation. Uh, uh, it
Wait,
was like,
what happened to the no chauffeur to school?
yeah.
No
Oh,
chauffeur.
that happened.
Yeah.
That happened if I stayed at my dad's and he was working on a set. He was like, he's not about to get up to take me to school at 7 o'clock in the morning. So like, yeah, that did happen, and that always was strange because living with my mom was not like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Living with my mom was so different. We didn't have a housekeeper. We didn't have someone to cook meals. I was total latchkey kid. Mom went off and I'm like pulling out the TV dinners and pulling that tinfoil back and sitting it on the tray, you know?
Poke the holes in the plastic.
Yeah, clicking on the TV, like, yeah, because we had you didn't have those were for fancy folks. That was at
Right.
dad's
Right.
house. That wasn't at my house. Yeah. And so growing up, like, I feel like my childhood, other than my dad being who he was normal. Like, I
Yeah.
went to summer camp, I had friends, I went to parties, I got in trouble, I stayed out too late, like all the
Yeah.
things you're supposed to do.
And what about your jump into show business? Like, did he say like, no, don't do it? You
So
know.
so there's two parts to that story. So when I was little, everyone knew this is what I was going to do. I was the kid that got the Mr. Microphone, the rainbow colored afro wigs, the clown makeup, the boas. Like, they knew this is all the dance classes, whatever, they knew this is what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, I started auditioning. I booked my first job right after high school, which was head of the class.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't go through the process that, we all go through later. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
we all have you audition a few times or you go in front of, like, I didn't have that. I went to an open call. I wrote my monologue, and they said, can you write something that's more like a teenager? I said, sure. They go, bring it in tomorrow. I went home, read the newspaper, was like, oh, sounds good about gangs or whatever, and then did a whole monologue about the gangs and got hired on the spot. So
Right.
like
Right.
that was my experience. Then went to do the show and then got a standing ovation at the show because there were a whole bunch of kids that were like my character at the show.
Right. Right. Right.
I got called that night, would you be a series regular? Like, that doesn't happen in
Right.
the real, but it happened in my world. You know
Right.
what I mean? And from then on, it was like I was booking, and then all of a sudden it got to that weird, funky, I think I began to believe the lies people told me, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was never pretty enough. I was never this enough. I didn't look like this and da da da. And Hollywood was very, people think there's colorism going on. It was deep.
Yeah.
When you're told you're not black enough to be black, you're not white enough to be white. We would use you. You're a great actor, but you don't look like Halle Berry. And I'm like, so
Right.
what? And they're like, go get your face done. Like I was told all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff,
Craziness.
But
Yeah.
guess what? It got to me. It kind of, I think I psyched myself out of doing at times my best work or my best auditions or, and that plays a role in your head. You know what I mean? So then I created my own show.
Fried chicken and latkes.
Right? 20 years. Like been
Yeah.
doing it 20 years. That's crazy.
Yeah. But you know
And
what?
it's paid my bills. Like that's what's,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but people thought I was crazy for doing it. I got dropped by my agency. They thought I was nuts, and then look at it, I just laugh. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I've discovered one thing I've discovered is that there's no right way to do it in this industry,
No,
right? Your journey will never be mine.
no,
My journey will never be somebody else's. I
never.
can come to you and tell you how to do it. This is completely industry really of faith,
Yes, absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
because we don't know what we attract, what we put out, we attract to us.
Yep. And the one thing I will say is, for someone that is new or in this for the first time and wants to know how to do it, you're going to make mistakes. You ask the people that know, but still do what you feel is right, period. You know what I mean? I mean, like
Yeah.
I said, everyone thought I was crazy, Phil.
Because the people that think they know, or the people that's supposed to know, really don't know.
They don't
But
know.
but
They're
but
guessing.
but but, but now they invented this app called Clubhouse where they can go and pretend like they know, but they really don't know.
Right.
But that's another story. I'm
That, right.
I'm gonna try to stay positive tonight. But yeah, there's some who are like, yo, you really don't know what you say you think you know.
Right.
Because it's anybody's game. I mean, you can
It
take
is.
someone who graduated from Juilliard and they're
Listen.
famous because somebody just walked through the door.
Right.
It's
Hello.
really anybody's game.
Exactly.
So let me ask you a question.
Please. Any
Now,
question.
if okay, all right,
You can ask me
okay,
anything.
all right. I forgot to call. The funny thing is, I was going to call you earlier to be
I
like,
know, to
what
give me
can we
that
talk
thing.
about?
I know. Don't worry about it.
But I wanted to know if you would tell me about the head of the class experience. What was that experience like for you working on that show?
So I audition, I get the call back, I get hired, I do my first episode, I then get the call back. What was interesting is I came from stage. So like my memorization was on point. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember the kids, well now adults, but kids saying like, can you try not to memorize so well? Like there was like, that whole thing. Then it's interesting. The studios create stories. So they created this story, which was never true, like this rift between like me and Robin Givens, and I'm going to replace her and da da da.
Right,
And none of that was ever like true.
right.
But that's like Hollywood, right? And I remember I being on that show because you got in everywhere and I was in all the teen magazines and da 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 da. And I'm thinking I'm the, hot stuff now.
Yeah.
And my dad came to set one day because I was acting a fool, I guess. And he was like, oh no, you don't act this way on set. We're not allowed to da da da. I was like,
Right.
I make dad. Everybody's like, Robin, everybody. And he's like, I don't care what everybody else is doing. And I had to whip
That's
myself
funny.
back to shape
That
because I was like, why don't I have this in my dressing room?
You were like, wait a minute. I sent a writer last week that nobody's paying attention to.
Right, exactly. It's hilarious. But mind you, I was 18, 19 years old,
Mm-hmm.
20. I mean, it ended, I was on it for 3 years. So by the time I was 21, that was
Yeah,
it. It was just like right out of high school, boom.
yeah. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my brother Tuffy Questel. Tuffy's on. He just said thank you,
Hi.
Rain, for sharing your stories with us. Tuffy
Oh, it's such
made
my
me first.
pleasure.
Yeah, they just finished. They worked on The Harder They Fall, so I went to a screening of that with them a couple of nights ago. So Tough, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate your support as well. So check this out. So
Please.
we leave out of the class, we move through life, and we get to fried chicken and latkes. And I think I had always thought about writing a one-man show, and I saw yours, and it was just so infused with different characters and then music. Was there anything you were afraid to bring to that show that maybe was like maybe it's too either too painful or maybe I'm just not ready to talk about this?
No, but I thought I wrote a drama. I thought my show was a drama. And people laughed, and I was like, what's wrong with this? They're laughing. So that was a lesson that your pain can be funny to people. Like that's how people relate. And I just was like, oh my God. Like I had no idea
Yeah.
uh, that there was humor.
And that's how people connected to it. And I always tell the story. The funniest thing I said, if you were to ever tell me like what was my connection, like one of the things that we first connected on was being able to live with someone who was addicted. That
Right.
that 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 story we shared this story in IHOP.
See,
I'll never forget.
that's so crazy.
And we were just swapping. And it's like, wow, it's like it it's the connection. Sometimes people laugh
Yeah.
because it hits home.
It does, but I didn't know, like seriously, I thought I really wrote this drama, and here it is. I'm like, oh, I wrote something funny, and I'm like, and I'll sing songs between it, kind of thing. And it's interesting how over the 20 years it changed,
Yeah,
and I love my director. I love Eve Branstein. I would never give her up for the world,
yeah,
as a director, as a friend, as a producer. I've known her since I was 9 years old. So this new iteration of my show, which is then became the thing at the time, at least for 3 years, that Norman Lear's company wanted, One Act wanted to make happen into a series, and then it was like, okay, finding the right writers, and I'm not trusting myself to do that yet, and then working with people, and then people getting let go because it's not the right thing, and da da da, and then the back and forth, and then COVID, and then it just all vanished, and that happens.
yeah,
That's the truth of it. Sometimes you'll be on the thing, and everyone's like, "We love it, we love it, we love it," and you're like, "But
yeah,
where did you go?" Like,
yeah. Yeah. It was like
so,
you remember my Nathan Youngerberg, playwright Nathan.
yes,
Nathan's show was ready to be set to go into off Broadway at the Cherry Lane Theater, and then boom, COVID happened. Boom.
and that happens.
Yeah,
That can stop things right in a track. People go different ways. They get concerned about their money, concerned about the reputation, whatever it is.
right.
And as an artist, I will tell you, I felt defeated. That was the first time in like years that I felt that low, like, ugh. And there was nothing I could do. It's not like you could hop on a plane, right, and go
Yeah,
anywhere.
yeah,
It's like we were stuck for that year and a half. And I chose during that time to really focus as a creative. I signed up for a year-long workshop for writers with professional writers in the industry because I wanted to know what that landscape was. I wanted to be able to speak that language as
mhm,
opposed to just being, I'm an actor, I know how to direct, I know how to this. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
wanted to learn more about what our craft is.
Yeah, it's like the
And
difference. I'm sorry.
no, no, please.
Now, I was gonna say it's like the difference between people who play by ear when they music,
Yes,
and people who actually know how to read and write music.
right.
It's like going to class now to learn how to read and write.
Right.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, I did. I went to Interlochen and Idlewild School for the Arts and studied music composition, was one of the things. Because I used to play. I haven't since I was about 14, 15 years old. But I used to play and write my own music. I was offered a deal from Motown. Berry Gordy was at my house with my
Wow.
mom, and my dad was on the phone, and my dad turned it down.
How old were you? at that time? About what?
Then I was 11 or 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was like, nah.
Yeah. He was like, mm-mm. He was like, you're going to be a kid. Like,
Right.
like those moments you're like, but I could have been famous.
Right.
But he was like, no, you're going to be a kid. Like, I wasn't even allowed to act, Phil, until I was 18 years old. I could do school plays, but I couldn't audition until I was 18. That wasn't allowed.
Knowing all that I know now, I appreciate that I didn't get into the industry at that age.
Right.
Like I don't think I could have handled it that young because it's a beast.
It is a beast, and people don't realize that. They see what they see. Like, we look out, you know what I mean, and we look on the screen and we see the people up there, and the job is to make it effortless, right? That's
Right.
the directors, the lighting, the producer, the makeup, all of it, right?
Yeah.
It makes it look effortless, but the struggle that goes into it, the long hours, the pay, the asking for this, the agent, the this, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
You have to have, and getting rejected. You'll get rejected more than you'll get yes.
Amen.
You know what I mean? And learning that, and
Yeah.
not, and learning not to take it personal. Like, it's not a reflection. And I think that's the hardest part, especially I know for me at one time, is not taking it personal, but learning how to still evolve from that. All right, if it's no, let me work on X, Y, and Z. So next time it's going to be yes.
Yeah.
I auditioned this year so far for the same show 4 times. And what's funny is I don't know if they ended up not even going with the part or whatever, but I asked my agent, I was like, that's one of those roles like I should have gotten, you know? And she was like, I don't even know if they've cast it.
Yeah.
Like, there's things, but you don't know. As an artist, you have a lot of self-esteem issues with that because
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
sensitive beings. We're sensitive.
That's why I posted God bless him, rest in peace, Peter Scolari.
Right.
That video that he talks about the ego, and
Yeah.
our ego is what helps us work and book jobs and do well, but yet we have low self-esteem because there's a need to be appreciated, there's a need to be wanted
Yeah.
from actors or any artist, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I learned from him and Ron Palillo, who I had met, who played Horshack on Black Carter.
Oh my God. I used to play Horseshack at the comedy clubs with my dad.
Really?
Yes, I would go on stage and do a whole. Isn't that hilarious? Yep. One of my favorite characters.
Wisdom and knowledge, they
I bet.
impart upon
I
me.
bet.
Because when you grow up watching them on television and then you meet them and you realize that no, whatever destination you're trying to get to, like, this is it. You put in the work. You'll get work that people will remember.
That's
And
right.
you get people work that people won't even appreciate.
That's
But
right.
you gotta do it because you love it. And I appreciate that, man. That was words of wisdom
Right
for real.
on. I love that you have that. Like, now I have a great mentor for my writing. I have 2 actually, and I love them. But I always think it's best to surround yourself with people who are better than you are at your craft,
Truly.
because you learn from them, right?
Yes.
And sometimes you're like wondering why are they hanging out with you, because they see something in you that's going to elevate them too, And
Yes.
I love what we do. I love entertaining. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know anything else,
Yeah.
And one
Absolutely.
that is not consistent. I've never known a job and loved it that is not consistent. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Exactly. This is you love this job. It's like a bad relationship.
Right.
You love the job. It's not consistent. And the jobs that you can do, because
It might call you, it might not.
Right.
It tells
may
you it
call
loves
they
you one day.
reject you while you're there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah, it tells you it loves you, tells you you're fat. Tells you you're canceled. Get out my way.
right. Exactly. It's just like that. It comes over.
Yeah.
And it showers you with all this love and attention when you're there. And then
Right.
after that, it's like, see you later.
Right. Bye-bye.
That's it. But then there are some jobs that you take to try to say, look, I'm gonna do this because I need this to pay the rent, or I'm just trying to get by,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
they don't want to let you go, but you miserable.
Right, you are.
You're just like, why am I here? So yeah. So
Yep.
this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes.
Like I said, a lot of things, and this is just how I roll, and I want to make everyone aware of just how Phil John rolls. Okay,
All right.
as many people as I'm close with in this industry, I make it my business that I don't drop nothing until they do. And Rain Pryor has been very candid about her life, especially during this breast cancer journey. And I wanted you to say, first and foremost, what was that like receiving the diagnosis? And then what was the thought right after that I'm going to beat this thing?
Receiving the first thought was, oh shit, literally. Then it was, what am I going to do? How am I going to tell Dave? How am I going to tell Lotus? And I think I don't really remember, but I think I went downstairs and said to Dave, oh my God, I have breast cancer. And not knowing Lotus was in her room, but somehow it come down. So she heard me.
Mm-hmm.
And her first thought is, does that mean you're going to die? And I had no answer because I hadn't yet talked to my doctor. It just showed up on the chart in, like in the text thing. So I hadn't talked to anybody yet to even find out what kind of cancer, what grade, whatever. And then I got told, if you're going to get cancer, you have the good cancer. And then the doctor's like, but no cancer is good cancer. So I'm like, why even say that to somebody, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's because I had estrogen positive and positive cancer. And I guess that works well with certain breast cancer treatments. What I was told is you could do radiation and chemotherapy, but we can't guarantee that it would get rid of all the cancer. We think if you had a double mastectomy, it would. And so that's what I went with. And I did that with reconstruction that they call deep flap, where they use your stomach muscles
Mm-hmm.
to make new breast. So out with the old, in with the new. you know, looking like something like a little like Nightmare Before Christmas. That's okay.
Right, right,
I'm
right,
like,
right.
I don't have cancer. But the feelings I got, like, I cannot tell you this weird place I went to that I'm still there, which is because you're like, when people talk about your life flashing before your eyes,
Yeah, yeah.
that I think literally happened. That I went to the weirdest place. Like, I have friends who've gotten the same diagnosis and they're, I was upset. Did I cry? Yes. Was I frustrated? Yes. But I was like, I'm going to live because of Lotus. Like, not, and Dave understood that. Like, it wasn't even that I didn't want to be here for my husband. I mean, don't get me wrong, but she's 13. Like, that was, I got to be here for her. So let me do the thing I'm going to do. And it didn't matter about all of a sudden the not getting the deal that fell through with Norman and all that, whatever. It didn't matter.
Right,
None of it mattered.
right,
It still doesn't matter.
right.
Like, I'm going to live my life to the fullest, no matter what. I'm going to enjoy not that I didn't
Yeah.
before. The mindset is different. Like, I'm going to survive. I'm going to kick cancer's ass. And I did.
Amen.
Okay.
And I just always admire your strength and
Likewise.
yes, and your willingness to now be of service. You know, because I always think there's a scripture in the Bible that says when Christ is teaching on the Sermon of the Mount, and he says, in order for you to remove the beam from your brother's eye, you first have to remove the beam from your eyes. And I interpret that as in order for me to heal you,
Mm-hmm.
I first have to be healed,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So, and when you speak from that place, now you're speaking with authority and you're speaking with power and the
Yeah.
power to heal other people.
That's right. That's right.
You know, so I truly, truly thank you for that.
I thank
I,
you.
and for me, it's just I just thank you for being you. You know.
But I feel the same about you, my
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
You know, who else am I going to send like my first draft of a script that I wrote something years ago that you were like, I don't know if it's ready. And da, 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 da. That was like years ago. And I'm like, let me show you what I've been doing, Mr. Phil Jones.
I thank you. I thank you. And I appreciate it. You know, I'm always willing to pass stuff by
I
you.
know, see?
You know. And let me just say, like when the Rain's wedding was like one of the best weddings I ever been to. We partied, drank, and smoked cigars all night long.
Oh my
It
God.
was pouring rain.
Oh, down.
We didn't care. We was like, just let it keep going. It was
We did.
dope.
It's crazy fun. And it was just, you know, like I said to Dave, the right people that we wanted, the right showed up. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Celebrate the day. And it was just so, you know, after trial and tribulation, I'm so lucky that I have an amazing relationship with my daughter's father, you know, that we can co-parent.
Yeah.
And I love that him and Dave are friends. And I love that Dave is that guy that doesn't have that weird chip on his shoulder. And he just is,
Yeah.
you know, just like he lets me go and do what I got to do. And he doesn't worry, you know,
Yeah.
lucky in that way.
How is it being a mother of a teenage daughter now?
Who, somebody help. Somebody come and get me. I need a spa day every day. That girl's driving me crazy. They are not joking. And then I have to think, was I like that? Oh, if I was, I owe so many apologies.
Apologies.
Ooh, because that girl, no matter what I do, it's I'm talking to my friends. Go away. And I'm like, excuse me?
Like, wait a minute. It's like we pay the mortgage here.
Huh?
Like we
What?
pay the mortgage here.
Right? Mortgage. What's mortgage? Get a job. Wait, I'm living with you forever. I don't need no, honey, boo boo. She could live with, but she could live with me forever, and I'd be all right with it. Dave, I don't know. Dave might be like, but then he's gonna get to a certain age where he's gonna be glad the kids out.
Exactly. And it's like you guys, it's like you guys have made it so comfortable. Like I've enjoyed your videos with you sitting out there talking to the cicadas over the summertime. Do you ever feel like you will go back to LA?
To work, I do for work, but I don't want to live there.
I got you.
You know, and I'll tell you why. I get, you know, there's a philosophy of, well, you got to be in LA and be around it and in the mix. And that's why I did it, because you're not really in the mix. I'll take peace of mind over
Amen.
being in any day. I'll
Amen.
take the fact that I can say hi to my neighbor and she'll say hi back over LA any day. The realness, real. The fact that I can go to the grocery store in sweats and a sweatshirt and no one's standing outside with a camera trying to see if I look right or act right. Like, I don't want to live that life, and it's too much pressure. I
Right.
like this. I like down home, come as you are. There's always food for somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah.
I like when the kids down the street that used to live there, then they moved, used to come here and go, do you have some food? Can we eat? You know, and then you text the parents, by the way, your son and daughter are here. They were hungry. Oh, thank you so much. You know, whatever. I like that.
Get some half and half.
Right?
So,
You know, it was not like that in LA. So no.
yeah. New York is a different beast too, man.
Oh,
All its own.
now I might have a little pied à terre in New
Right.
York because I love New York City. Yeah. Yeah.
Just because like the arts is like number one as far as like just really art. There's even arts on the street, free
Right.
art, free expression,
Yeah,
free
exactly.
everything. You know what I mean? So like I saw the piano in the pictures that you posted of the house. Beautiful. I just saw like a song fest just jumping off in that
But
room.
you have to come. Oh my God, you should come down because my brother comes at Christmas time. My friend Cheyenne comes at Christmas time.
Yeah. I gotta shout out to Cheyenne. I
All
forgot
right.
we hung out at the wedding together. That
Yeah,
was dope.
like it's just fun that we have that place, and especially now since we fixed it up so it doesn't look like, a 1970s horror film. Now it looks like, because this was my husband's family home.
Yeah.
So now it's like now we're starting to do a little remodel here and there. So I'm excited that at least hopefully by
Wait,
Thanksgiving,
Cheyenne just said, "It's me. I'm here."
hey, boo, that we'll have the kitchen done, and it's gonna be, we like people, we really do.
Yeah.
We just don't invite people over when it was, looking like, I don't know,
Right. It was just
but
too
it
much.
was like, even Lotus was like, I cannot bring my friends over.
Right. Oh my God! Shout out to my cousin Jamie.
Hi.
He's coming in from Dubai, bruh.
Oh,
I'm calling you later tonight. So check this out. My 5 questions we gotta go over that I ask every guest that comes on the show.
oh, stand corrected. You did not say that. It came to me who did, yet I so wanted to say sorry. No worry, sweetie. No worry. This is for Sultana. I just saw a thing. No worries. All good props. I do not hold a grudge, child. Life is too long for that.
Yeah,
Oh,
my
thank
cousin
you.
Jamie was out in Dubai doing his really thing. Well, he's either in Qatar or Dubai, one or the other.
Oof, that's
Doing his thing
fantastic.
out there. Very proud of him. Businessman, really doing his thing out there. So, okay, 5
Yeah.
questions.
Okay.
All right, that I ask everybody. I
Ooh.
call them my Super Soul Sunday questions. All right,
All
so
right.
feel free to answer them any way you choose to. Okay.
Okay.
So tell me, what do you know about the industry now opposed to when you first started?
That everything changes in an instant. Don't keep up with the hype.
Yeah, minute by minute,
Yeah.
truly,
Yeah.
truly. So, what advice would you give your 19-year-old self?
You're beautiful. You're talented. Keep going. Ignore them.
What feeds your spirit?
My daughter, my husband, living life.
What do you want your legacy to be?
God, I felt good when I was around her. That's what I want. I want to leave people better than I found it.
Thank you for that. Really, truly. Um, and lastly, what are you grateful for?
Life. I'm so grateful to be alive. It's unreal. I
Yeah,
can't, I wish I could describe or show my heart to prove, like, I can't explain the feeling when you think you're going to die
yeah,
and you live, what it means to actually live every day. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm grateful to be alive.
yeah. It's good to be alive.
Right? It
You
sure
know,
is.
they say, as long as there's breath in your body, there's always hope.
Exactly. Always.
Always hope.
Yes.
I'm so grateful for that, man. Definitely. And a lot of times, sometimes I don't feel like bothering you. Sometimes I just want to
You know,
check in.
bother me. I told you that bother me.
I'm like, brain is probably in
Because
between
I
school
isolate. So you have to
PPAs.
bother me. You have to bother me. I isolate.
Yeah,
I'm one of those. Like, it's an automatic. I get caught up in my little world with late Lotus and Dave, and I'm like, I forget there's other people in my, including, family.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
forget.
yeah.
So please, oh wait, don't bother me. Go away. I'll be like, hey.
Even it's just because I find like it's cool just to be like being able to pass ideas off of people.
Likewise.
Hey,
Yeah.
what do you think about this? Because I think as long as we have that creative gene that flowing, that those
Right.
creative juices flowing, that again, the law of attraction. What we put out, we attract. What we
That's
put out,
right.
we get back.
That's right.
So and I agree with what you said. Peace of mind is priceless.
Yes, it is.
If you can operate from that place, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is.
What's next?
What's next for me? I have no idea other than I'm writing. That's what I'm doing. I'm actually, I have 3 full scripts that I've written, and that's kind of where I'm at. I want to be on this path. I also had an amazing interview to work for a great company for a great cause, helping to bring Black and Jewish relations together and have conversation. And I'm very passionate as someone who is Black and Jewish on top of that. So I hope even to work with them. And if I do, then that would be awesome. I've had my 2 interviews with them. So I hope for their sake they say yes. And if not, hey, I'm still gonna find ways to be a part of what they're doing, because I believe in our people and us, you know,
Ab-
and raising us up to a different level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So is there any chance that you will be also going back and probably be developing fried chicken and latkes as well?
I think I may actually work on doing that. I have interest from private investors. So we'll see, like, to even go ahead and film it, which would be awesome. I actually wrote a pilot for it. So we'll see what happens, but I'm kind of open to what creativity and what this road and where it will bring me. I know exactly what I want to do. I know I want to act and I want to write. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
very clear about acting, writing, and directing. Like, I'm there.
Yeah,
So how
so,
it comes is not my business. But
absolutely.
keeping sharp, that's what I'm doing now, is keeping my skill, sharp,
Right.
focused. Yeah.
And continuing to fall in love with it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I had to redo. I had to reconnect and just fall in love with it again, because it's very easy to be a part of this industry and get caught up in the competition of it all.
Absolutely.
Not really be in competition with everybody else, but then everybody else is in competition with you.
That's right.
So
That's
it's kind of like I need a break. I need to go back to why I love doing what I do.
right.
And sometimes it does require a little bit of isolation.
It does. And
But
that's,
yeah,
because that's also part of the law of attraction, is to place our intention, to place our focus on that thing, and believe that we've already achieved it somehow. And then
yes,
it
yeah,
happens. We all, especially as artists, we're so sensitive. I think we all struggle sometimes with that. We find that a challenge. I
yes.
love getting in that quiet place and, oh, look, see, I'll show you what I have that helps me, just because I know you want to go. People want to go. I also have my singing bowl. I
Ah,
recommend having a singing bowl. I love it.
yeah.
I'll be on this thing telling you. And it's for the heart chakra, to open yourself up. You
It's
know,
good stuff though. It
right?
really
Sit
is.
here with my crystals and whatnot. Don't get it twisted.
It really is.
I'm a little bruja. Okay, I
I,
got a little
I already
voodoo in me.
know. I carry my black tourmaline with me just to keep me
Hey,
grounded.
because our ancestors weren't playing around. They left us some powerful magic.
Exactly.
So
All of us, of African descent,
that's right.
very ancestral people.
That's right.
Yeah, so I get it. Rain, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I love you.
But I love you too. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. Again, I wish you all the best. I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Ashe.
I, all right. Good night,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you. Go over to the gentleman's corner. My brothers are starting their conversation at 9 p.m. Like I said, thank you once again for joining me tonight. And Saturday, special presentation. We're going to continue to talk about breast cancer. We're going to continue to talk about breast cancer survivors. And I look forward to all of you coming aboard. Thank you. Good night. Ashe.